about Kelvin and his team and Rainforest4, this is near and dear to Kelvin's heart. I know that he started on this quest back in the 1980s in Melbourne. I think he joined the Melbourne Rainforest Action Group, Melbourne-based Rainforest Action Group, which focused on reducing imported rainforest timbers and achieved an 80% reduction in the tropical sawn timbers that came into Melbourne from Malaysia from the late 80s and early 90s. So, you know, that's had a huge impact on those rainforest plantations. He then turned his focus in the late 80s to the Daintree area, which was very, very topical at the time. A lot of the people, certainly my generation, will remember there was a lot of activism around the Daintree and protecting that. And Kelvin conceptualised and worked with and developed the Rainforest Rescue as a non-for-profit organisation. And as the CEO and founding director, he created, innovated, engaging fundraising programs that drove the growth for 15 consecutive years around that. And there was the foundation of it was around purchasing, protection and rehabilitation programs. So actually purchasing land and rainforest, there's no greater way to protect it than to actually purchase and change the ownership and move it away from activities that involve clearing. So that's a very, very powerful thing to do in what he did there. And in the time, they'd purchased over 30 properties in the Daintree lowland rainforest with all the funds raised from the community. So it's not a government-backed organisation. He's also the co-founder of the Big Scrub Rainforest Day, which is a long-running annual event that was established back in 1999 to educate the community and inspire individuals about the restoration of the rainforest in northern New South Wales. So again, it's more than just the Daintree, but we're just going to focus on that today. In 2015, he was instrumental in establishing the Rainforest Trust Australia and was executive director for 2 years until July 2018. And has achieved many, many conservation outcomes, including the purchase of a Cooloola Station, a 44,000 acre property near Cooktown, the Misty Mountains property on the Atherton Tablelands, and 9 properties in the Daintree lowland rainforest. So really significant events and significant things have been achieved there. Additionally, the rainforest restoration programs were established in the far north Queensland and northern New South Wales. Contributions were made to dozens of international land purchase and protection projects, saving millions and millions of hectares, which is just fantastic. He's worked with many, many not-for-profit. He's been a founder, an employer, consultant, a volunteer in many organisations to help develop it, all focused in this area. And in August 2018, he founded the Rainforest4 Foundation to deliver outcomes around wildlife, climate, people and planet through the purchasing of land and creating new protected areas and stopping and reversing the impacts of development and restoring the rainforest and ecosystems damage in the past. So it's a really, really powerful and effective things that Kelvin and his colleagues are doing, which is just absolutely fantastic. So very well credentialed with a number of decades of experience in this area. I think that's enough from me, and I'd love to hand over to Kelvin and to hear how he achieves these wonderful day.
Thank you, Rob, and thanks to Craig and also Marlene for helping to set this up, and we appreciate the opportunity to share this presentation with you. Yeah, so just over the last few years, I've focused on the Rainforest4 Foundation, and of course we're here to protect and restore our rainforests for wildlife, climate, people and the planet. So the way that we're doing that is yeah, that's our mission there: wildlife, climate, people, planet. And so that's the focus of the organisation, what we do on a day-to-day basis. And we'll tell you a little bit about our values now, which are very important to us, the way that we operate, the way we engage with the broader community and all of our stakeholders. We're really committed to caring for people, and that's safety in the workplace, and all of our volunteers and guests. We've placed that as our #1 priority. We want everyone to be safe and well. Of course, we like to also be great custodians of the money that people entrust us to manage. So we are accountable and we are transparent. We like to publish all of our financials on our website and other locations so people can have a good understanding of who we are, and of course that builds trust in who we are and the willingness of people to support our work.
One too many there. We still got you there, Kel?
In the Daintree rainforest, we work very closely with the Indigenous people there, which are the Gugu Yalanji people, and so we're buying the land and involving them in its ongoing management. So what we've realised over the last few decades, more and more, is that rainforests are very important to us as human beings. We actually rely on the ecosystem services that rainforests provide. Of course, they help to regulate our climate and even produce rain. When they are growing, they absorb carbon from the atmosphere and store it in the leaves and plants in the rainforests, and that's helping us to mitigate climate change. We also know that in the rainforests, there are 50% of all of the species of life on the planet. So they only cover 6% of the Earth's surface, but we have 50% of all of the species of life are found there. So with so much rainforest disappearing, it's about 80,000 acres are destroyed every day, about 30,000 hectares. That's putting all of that at risk for the wildlife, climate, people, planet, and we know that preserving these rainforests is actually in our own interest. So it's almost like an act of self-preservation to preserve our rainforests. So in decades to come, because it's disappearing so quickly, all that will remain will be the rainforest that we act to save today. So as we've said, we are involved in very practical projects to protect and restore rainforests, and it involves buying land that's at risk and putting it into nature reserves or national parks, and also restoring rainforests by planting trees and helping with natural regeneration of forests.
Hi everybody, Richard Christian. I'm the co-CEO of Rainforest4 Foundation as well. I'm just going to touch on some of the standards that we use when we're developing our projects and our strategy, and then we'll be back to Kelvin to talk about some of the projects in a bit more detail. We follow a set of open conservation standards that are designed to guide key project management decisions in conjunction with other decision support tools, while facilitating collaboration and providing a transparent basis for shared decision making. It's designed to help conservation teams realise the vision of the organisation, and the standards provide a set of best practices for the successful implementation of our conservation projects. It's orientated around that 5-step management cycle that you can see there in the diagram. The conservation management principles is based on a partnership of conservation-orientated NGOs, government agencies and funders that work collectively to achieve greater impact. Our conservation strategy is built on 4 pillars. You can see them there. There's the Daintree buyback, habitat protection, reforestation and Indigenous custodianship. We have a range of projects under each of those pillars. Kelvin's touched on the Daintree buyback projects there. Habitat protection in a similar line to that, and reforestation is where we look to replant and revegetate degraded areas. And we also, wherever possible, engage with the local Indigenous people to try and either transfer land back into their custodianship or partner with them in order to try and manage the properties that we acquire and put into protection. Go back across to you now, Kel, to talk about our projects.
Thanks. Well, everyone will probably be aware of the fires that occurred in Australia late last year and earlier this year. Over 10 million hectares were burnt, and scientists are saying that over 1 million animals died in those fires. Up here in northern New South Wales, where we've got our office, the fires came very close to little towns and villages, and also to many people's houses. And then the fires tended to slow down and be extinguished when it got closer to the rainforests. and people were able to see that the eucalypt forest is highly flammable, but the rainforests actually are less flammable. And so now we're working with communities here in northern New South Wales to restore rainforest that was lost in the past as habitat, and to all the benefits that brings, but of course in the future where it'll help mitigate future fires. So we've got practical projects where we're out there planting trees and removing exotic weeds so that the rainforest can regenerate, and that's an ongoing program now in the Byron Shire in northern New South Wales. But our main work over the last year has been in the Daintree rainforest in far north Queensland. The Daintree is about 100 kilometres north of Cairns, and it's a very special place, iconic for wildlife conservation, nature conservation, and for tourism. There's about 300,000 to 400,000 people visit the Daintree lowland.
I think we might be having some connection issues there, but hopefully Kel will drop back. Are other people having trouble hearing Kelvin?
Yeah, he's just dropped out for a moment. Oh, there he is, he's back.
We just lost you for a minute, Kel. If you wouldn't mind perhaps just going back over where you were about 30 seconds ago.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so yeah, the Daintree rainforest is believed to be the oldest continually existing rainforest in the world, and we know that because scientists have the fossil record, and they can compare that to the plants living there today. So there are many ancient flowering plants in the Daintree, and this is very important to scientists to study the evolution of plants on Earth. And of course, there's also many endemic plants, that is, plants that are only found in the Daintree rainforest. Some of the wonderful things that we have in the Daintree, of course, are the cassowary, which is the third largest bird in the world. And we also have the Bennett's tree kangaroo, which is a large wallaby or small kangaroo, and it hops around in the canopy of the rainforest. And the Bennett's tree kangaroo is only found from the Daintree River to just south of Cooktown. So we have all these amazing creatures in the Daintree and wonderful plants that are really like a living museum. It's very important to conserve the Daintree to preserve all these wonderful places. So in the Daintree, back in the 1980s, there was a rural residential subdivision. The government of the day approved this subdivision and carved up the Daintree. 2/3 of the Daintree lowland rainforest, this very precious and special area, was turned into a rural residential subdivision. And over time, governments and not-for-profit organisations have been working to limit the impact of development. And of course, that's involved the buyback of land. And it's an ongoing process. It's a voluntary process. People are willing to sell their land, and so we're willing to buy it if we get the support that we need. And of course, then we preserve it forever. And the slide you can see there in the foreground is a private property. It's a freehold property, and of course, the owner has the legal right to clear that property and develop their land there. The area shown by the outline there is another property which we're currently buying, and it's lot 157, Cape Tribulation Road. What we've found on that property is that there's many endangered and endemic plants there. The cassowary is there, the tree kangaroo, and so we need to preserve that area and to prevent it being developed for housing. We had an ecologist, a botanist visit the property before we agreed to buy this one, and he identified 270 species of plants, including 12 that are listed under government legislation as threatened species. So we keep buying these properties, and we've purchased 7 in the last year, and we make an appeal to the Australian community and international community as well. But we will buy this land and protect it forever, and the cost is only $2.50 for 1 square metre of rainforest. So we can say for $25, you'll buy 10 square metres, and for $100, you'll be able to save 40 square metres. So that's very appealing to people, very tangible very practical outcome. If people donate, we will buy the rainforest, and what we're doing with it is we are working with the Gugu people in the Daintree. They are helping us to transition that land into the Daintree National Park, which is a World Heritage Area, and the Gugu people have a role in managing the national park, so they are employed as rangers to look after the area. So it's a real win-win, but for the Gugu it's a very important outcome for them, because land and the connection to country is probably the most important thing to Indigenous people. So it's very emotional, very meaningful relationship that we have, and it's helping them realise some of their aspirations. What we hear from the Gugu is that there's a lot of healing to do, and this relationship that we have is part of that healing. So, we'll move on to the next slide, I think.
Might just add there,
yes.
Kelvin, we have an echo. Yeah, I think we might have an echo there. I think maybe someone needs to, yeah, okay, that's better. Kelvin, I just thought we might add that in the cases where we have some, looking to acquire more expensive properties, we do try to get philanthropists on to help us with, you know, that acquisition to keep that $2.50 price point realistic.
Yes. Well, this property we're purchasing at purchase price is $377,000. So it's great when people chip in $25. It's so important, and we've had thousands and thousands of Australian people and people from around the world donate make their contributions. And of course, we've been able to achieve some of these outcomes in the past year because some people have given a larger gift, and that's been very important to help achieve the outcome. Yeah. So again, this property at Lot 157, Cape Tribulation Road, I think we'll have to get a better name for it. But Lot 157, Cape Tribulation Road, it has mesophyll vine forest, which is the grandest and most archaic of all the rainforest types in Australia. Many, many big trees with buttressed roots, 35 metres tall, orchids and ferns and beautiful fan palms cover the property. There's some amazing cycads on the property, a species called the Hope's cycad. It's the largest growing cycad in the world. There's some on there that are 5 or 6 or 8 metres tall. And now these plants only grow 2 centimetres or 2.5 centimetres or an inch a year. So we know that these cycads on the property are 2,000 to 3,000 years old. There's individual plants that are that old. So yes, many threatened species are found on the property, and we're working to purchase this property at the moment, and every $2.50 we raise will help us to buy another little piece of the Daintree and protect it forever. Yeah.
Sorry,
we're now looking at
yeah,
coastal area.
Yeah, sorry.
This coastal area is not related to the Daintree. You can note that by the absence of trees. Yeah. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We'll overcome that in a moment. But we're going to tell you a little bit more about Lot 157 in the Daintree Rainforest. It's in the heart of the Daintree at a location called Diwan. So if you travel to the Daintree before you go north of the Daintree River on the ferry, and it's about 10 or 15 kilometres north of the Daintree River, right in the heart of the Daintree Rainforest. Earlier this year, we purchased the property across the road at Lot 155 in the Daintree Rainforest, and we were able to protect that. And we thought, well, this is a great place and a great location. We'll keep going. We'll buy.
So I will note, Kelvin, that we unfortunately only got about 6 minutes left, so I'm not sure how you're going time-wise.
Yep.
I know other people have commitments at 10:30.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Well, Rick will talk now about this property.
Yeah, just touching on the tourism opportunity there. The property has been operating as a commercial picnic ground. There's already some established infrastructure and amenities there, so it would be ideal for a range of different activities and I think interpretive opportunities there as well for visitors to the area.
Yep.
The Rainforest Rangers is one of our programs that allows for individuals to participate in a volunteer capacity. There's opportunities there for team building exercises and for peer-to-peer fundraising. So that's really our front-facing brand, if you like, for engagement with the public and for potential travellers. So I think it'd be a really great program for us to look at with you.
Yeah, that's a really exciting program that we haven't. It just shows another layer to what it is that you do. It's just another the depth of your organisation, and it is an exciting program as well.
Yeah, so a couple of our conservation goals in the next 3 years, we plan to establish over 1 million trees. 300,000 of those are going to be in Sumatra, and the rest we're looking to grow and regenerate in both the Daintree and the northern New South Wales region. We also have some ambitious targets around our fundraising over the next 3 years. So that's it from us. Thank you very much for your attention and your time. Happy to answer any questions. If you've got anything else you'd like to add, Kel, we do have a short 30-second video that we can play if we have some time, but probably more importantly to open up to questions if anyone's
Well, we've got a couple of questions in there, Richard. I mean, maybe you want to play the video in the background, but we do have a couple of questions actually, which is great. And one is, how big is the lot 157 that you're looking to buy?
Yep, that property is just over 8 hectares.
Okay, what do you know what that is in metres?
Yep, it's over 80,000 square metres.
Okay, yeah, right, it's quite a sizable property.
Yeah. And acres in the old measure.
There was a question as well. Is that I think you touched on it briefly, that when you buy the properties, often what you do is convert them to the national park or hand them over to the national park to oversee and manage. Is that a difficult process?
Not particularly, but it takes about 1 year because governments sometimes move slowly. But national park staff come out and they assess the property, confirm that it's of importance and value to the national park, and then it has to go to the minister to sign off on it. So that takes about 1 year. So we have to hold on to those properties and look after them during that time. And then we have them on.
Can you tell us a little bit also about the sourcing of trees and the process of replanting and reforestation of some of the land that's been cleared?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, up in the Daintree, they did create 50 kilometres of roads, a big network of roads in the Daintree. Because of the amount of buyback that's happened over the years, we're now able to close down some of those roads and revegetate them. If you go up to the Daintree, you'll see that we've done about 6 roads in the Cow Bay area have been closed and revegetated in the last year. What we do is there's a plant nursery growing rainforest trees in Mossman, the nearby town, and that's run by the Aboriginal group that are at Mossman Gorge, and they basically grow trees, and that's their little business. We buy the trees and replant them. That's what we do there. In northern New South Wales, there's been a very big movement to restore the rainforest here over the last 30 years, and there's well-established local rainforest nurseries that grow trees. So we obtain the trees from them, and we work with landowners and land care groups to access land for replanting. Around the world, we've had numerous partners over the years. We've got a wonderful partner in North Sumatra at the moment. We're about to implement a project to remove 100 hectares of illegally established oil palm from inside the Gunung Lusur National Park, which is a World Heritage Area. The oil palm company encroached upon the boundary, so we're removing them, and we're going to establish 300,000 trees there.
Yeah, fantastic. That's absolutely amazing work. And I think that addresses a couple of questions that we've had there. I think that's been, obviously there's huge amount of knowledge, and it's hard to convey 4 decades of experience in 20 minutes. But we thank you very much for sharing your time, and particularly the amazing and wonderful work that you do. I've taken a lot away from that, as I'm sure everyone has, and I think I think it really resonates. It really resonates with me. I feel really passionate about what it is that you do, and I love to support what you do is just absolutely essential. And I think that key point is that about the rainforest, the lungs of the world, is just such a key and fundamental point that we're not much good as a human race without oxygen. We can't do too much without that. So it's a fairly key thing, and it's 6% of the earth and 50% of all species is a really key aspect as well. But I think that protection of our if we're from the environmental aspect of just a selfish perspective of air quality, if that's probably cause and reason enough, regardless of everything else and all the other good benefits that come along with it. When we're trying to reduce CO2 emissions, well, another way is actually just continue to protect the area that actually creates the O2 element, or the O element. And the really good point, and very timely at this moment, around the fire prevention as well. And that in this time of all the fires that we've had, it's just so topical that actually enhancing those cool forest environments is obviously it's just so pertinent and such a really salient reminder that we've had after the last summer season that we've experienced here. So look, thank you all for your time. Thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, Kelvin. Thank you, Marlene, for driving the technical aspects there, and to Richard as well. Thank you for your the work you do and the
Yep, that'd be wonderful, Rob, and thanks for the opportunity to make the presentation today. A few technical difficulties, but we got there. Look, the Daintree Rainforest is a very, very beautiful place. I've had the opportunity to travel to rainforests all around the world, and I think aesthetically the Daintree is just such a wonderful experience for people. So we look forward to working with you on that into the future, and hopefully seeing some of you up there in the Daintree.
Absolutely. And look, what we'd like to do also to say thank you for your time and your generosity and help kickstart, or I'm not sure how far through actually you are, but through help you with lot 157. OneTomorrow would like to donate $2,500 to gain, I think that's well, give us a 1,000 square meters. We'd love to donate $2,500 to your cause and to help you towards achieving lot 157. And hopefully, when we get our travellers there, we can donate and support a lot more. And for our staff, what can our staff do? What can everyone else here doing? One is increase awareness of OneTomorrow, what we're doing in our traveller giving program as the time comes, and then opportunities there. Everyone can promote that. And that's what's really important from the organisation side, is to support the OneTomorrow and those activities, and that connection to raise awareness of OneTomorrow's activities, and the better way to put it, raise awareness of OneTomorrow and Rainforest4, and to our travellers and to our customers. So that's a great thing. Thank you all, everyone. Thank you, Kelvin. Everyone have a wonderful day, and there's something to think about how we can change the world for good. So thanks very much for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.